We begin tonight with the controversy surrounding the interpretation of a Supreme Court ruling which nullified the judgment of the Court of Appeal in Abuja that recognized Julius Abure as the national chairman of the Labour Party. In a unanimous decision, the Apex Court ruled that the Court of Appeal lacked jurisdiction to declare Abure the national chairman, as the case's substance pertained to the party's leadership. The Supreme Court emphasized that leadership issues are internal affairs of a political party, over which courts have no authority. Notably, the court also observed that Abure's tenure had expired, while the Abure camp have welcomed the Supreme Court's judgment, stating that it validates their stance that political matters are indeed internal party affairs. They claim the ruling does not mean that Julius Abure is no longer the party chairman, national chairman.
When we came to the Supreme Court looked at the cases and said that no, that since the two lower courts have found that the substantive dispute was the issue of leadership of a political party, that they had no jurisdiction to pronounce Abure as national chairman of the party, and that their judgments were not out of jurisdiction, and they set aside the judgment. And also the Supreme Court went ahead to make the point that political parties, on the need for political parties to be well guided by their constitution and guidelines, especially on the issue of tenure of officers. And that Julius Abure's tenure, he has outlived his tenure. So that is the purpose of the judgment. And that the issue of who determines leadership of a political party is entirely within the domestic realm of a political party, and not for the two lower courts to look at.
The message I have for the party members is that all along they have been so patient, because situations have risen where they should have rioted or reacted violently, but they have been so patient. So I'm telling them that they should now still remain patient, and let's build the party together. All hands must be on deck moving forward.
And for more on this story, Abayomi Arabambi, National Publicity Secretary of the Labour Party in the Abure camp, joins me from Abeokuta, Ogun State. Also, Fred Nziako, a constitutional lawyer, joins me from Lagos. Thank you, both of you gentlemen, for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much for having me.
I'll start with you, Fred. As a legal practitioner, what's your interpretation of the Supreme Court judgment? All right. Fred, if you can hear me very well, my question is, as a legal practitioner, what is your interpretation of the Supreme Court judgment? All right, let's bring in Abayomi then, while we are trying to fix Mr. Nziako's audio or whatever technical problems he's experiencing. Abayomi. Oh, great. So talk to me if you could hear me. How do you see that ruling? How do you interpret it? Abayomi, you belong to the Abure camp of the Labour Party leadership, and your faction has a different interpretation of today's Supreme Court ruling. Tell us about it.
Well, thank you very much. There is no faction in the Labour Party, even as pronounced by the Supreme Court today. But you see, I will need to explain to Nigerians so that they will not take shenanigans of this on that side. On September 28, 2024, there was a judgment from the Federal Court delivered by Justice Emeka Nwite, where he ordered NEC to remove our candidate, Dr. Yolorunfemi, from the annual portal on the ground that Abure was not the chairman of the party, and that the purported committee appointed by Joe Ajaero, they were the people, that have the constitutional right to submit name to INEC. INEC obliged and obeyed that order, despite the fact that we were denied fair hearing. So it was at that point, do not forget, after the publication of Ayolorunfemi was when APCNE ran to Federal High Court under Justice Emeka Nwite. So I want you to take note of where this jurisdiction of a matter is coming from. We now file an appeal in Abuja, and Justice Edmund Baka in a lead judgment read by Justice Olubukola Banjoko, said the issue of leadership is an internal affair of the party and the federal court lacked jurisdiction. That was where that matter, first of all, emanated, that the Federal Court of Justice, ought not to dabble into that. It is issue of internal party affair, and they don't, that the court lacked jurisdiction. What happened was that the former president of NFC, Abdulrahman Doma, was the one that wrote letter to INEC claiming to be chairman, and that was where the issue of leadership, first of all, emanated. That was one. So on November 13, when we now appeal, the judgment now affirms and dismisses the judgment of the lower court for want of jurisdiction. Want of jurisdiction. That one left, and the court now order INEC to take Dr. Ayolorunfemi back into the INEC portal. So that was why Ayolorunfemi of the Abure leadership, contested the election. The INEC was now recruited into this shenanigan. They prevented the chairman and secretary from coming into the INEC consultative meeting. When they were prevented, that was when the Niger Delta Committee also sprang up. They now claim to be the leader of the party. It was at this point that Abure now proceeded to another federal court because INEC was challenging the legality of the convention, claiming they did not monitor. And that is not the business of a political party in Section 82, 1-5, stated that political parties shall give INEC 21-day notice. Sub 5 said it is fatal if you fail to give them notice, the outcome of the convention of the congresses will not be accepted, it will be nullified. So it was based on this that Abure now approached federal court, who now reaffirmed the fact that INEC cannot recognize Abure for the simple fact that he said he didn't monitor that Congress. It was at this point that Niger Delta Committee now filed application for a joinder. So when the joinder was delivered, they and INEC now proceeded to Court of Appeal. In that judgment of January 17, Justice Aman Baka repeated one thing, that, gentlemen, this issue of leadership is not justiciable. Therefore, we declare jurisdiction because it is purely an internal affair of the party, one, and that there is still a subsisting judgment of November 13. I want you to take note. Subsisting judgment of November 13 that has not been appealed up to date. Therefore, he now dismisses their appeal. They now present to Supreme Court. Supreme Court also today says, for want of jurisdiction, issue of, leadership of a party is internal affair. But what Supreme Court says that is making them to run necessary scatter is the Supreme Court actually scolded the second court of appeal that they were not supposed to have even delved into the issue of leadership. That was the judgment of November 17.
Right.
Because ab initio, November 13, the court has already, for want of jurisdiction, declined, told the federal court that you lack jurisdiction to entertain political party matters when it border on, leadership.
Abayem, let me quickly come in here. Let me come in here. Fantastic background to this issue. In case anyone has forgotten, you've recapped it properly for us. Fred Nzeko is back online and all his technical issues are gone now. Thank you so much for rejoining the show. As a legal practitioner, how would you interpret the Supreme Court judgment over whether or not Abure is the national chairman of the Labour Party? Quickly.
Unfortunately, I didn't hear much of what Mr. Abayemi Arebambi said, the robust background he laid. But strictly speaking, the Supreme Court judgment today is an affirmation or a reconfirmation of a plethora of judgments earlier given by the Supreme Court, which holds that issue of party leadership is an internal affair of the political party. And the court should not be the one to meddle into such issue, and the court should not be the one to decide for the party who their leadership will be and who leads the party. Or rather, what the court has always done is to ask the party to go by their constitution, respect the provisions of their constitution, hold their conventions as and when due, and then elect their leadership based on the principles and the procedures laid down in the party's constitution. That has always been the position of the Supreme Court. And what has happened today is that the Supreme Court has further affirmed such position and given the vet to that fact that internal democracy is needed in political parties. And if they don't obey the rules and the provisions of their constitution, then they are the ones undoing themselves and not the judiciary.
I think the factions of the Labour Party leadership all agree that internal political affairs should be solved by political parties, but I guess this is where they disagree. That whether or not the judgment today sacks Mr. Abure as Labour Party chairman. How would you read into it before I bring in Abayomi?
The Supreme Court has said that Mr. Abure is not the leader of the party. What it simply means is that that convention which Mr. Abure, that so-called convention which Mr. Abure organized and his men organized in Nnewi, whereby he re-elected himself or whereby they re-elected him as the chairman of the party, does not hold anymore. Then the internal mechanism of the party must be activated for them to streamline the issues of leadership. Because what it simply now means is that there seems to be a vacuum in a manner of speaking. On one side, you have the Nana Usman-led Practical Committee, and on the other side, you have Mr. Abure-led committee, which has now been sacked by the Supreme Court. I do not know where Mr. Apapa stands, but I think Mr. Apapa may have gone home following the judgments by the lower court, that is the High Court and the Court of Appeal.
All right, Fred, let me quickly bring in Abayomi here.
Affirmed that of Julius Abure, Mr. Apapa may have gone home. Now it is between Abure and the Nana Usman-led committee.
Right.
And the party needs to activate the internal mechanism to decide pointedly who the leader of the party should be.
All right, Abayomi, you've just heard what Fred said. How do you respond? He said that Abure, the ruling by the Supreme Court today means that Abure translates that Abure is no longer the party chairman.
I'm not sure he read their notice of appeal, because you bring your case for notice of appeal that you fight before Supreme Court. They were not even the party to this matter at the federal court. If Supreme Court directed, declined jurisdiction to entertain that matter, why would Supreme Court have scolded an appeal court for delving into the internal affairs of a party by pronouncing a leader? It would be the same Supreme Court that would now tell Nigeria that, oh, the convention you did is illegal. Was the convention before Supreme Court? What Supreme Court said today was that, and that has been repeated because he said he didn't hear me. I said they commenced this issue in the federal court in September 2024, where Ebisheni rushed to court to go and dispute the leadership of Labour, and which Justice Emeka Nwite granted his request and ordered our candidate, Dr. to be removed on the NL portal. It was when we now approached the Court of Appeal that Court of Appeal said, ab initio, federal court lacked jurisdiction to delve into internal affairs of a political party, and our appeal was allowed because when we went to appeal for was that we cited so many Supreme Court judgments that said issue of leadership is not justiciable before court of law. Now, the second part was the one that was delivered on January 17th, and Justice Aman Bakassi repeated it, that the judgment of November 13 that set aside the judgment of federal court of September 2024 for want of jurisdiction. You know, when they call that jurisdiction, every matter before that court is dead on arrival. Now, they said the federal court lacked jurisdiction. Therefore, they will not entertain it. They allow the appeal.
Abayomi, let me come in here. Abayomi, let me come in here quickly. How about this part of the judgment, of the ruling that says that Abure's tenure had expired? What does the Labour Party constitution say about chairmanship tenures and elections? Speak to us quickly about that.
When the CTC comes out, if this my gentleman friend claim they made mention of the issue of expiration of tenure, I will give him 1 million. But if no, he will give me 1 million. We are not in a position. Let us take a bet. There is nothing like that. Supreme Court declined jurisdiction and told the Court of Appeal that ordinarily you are not supposed to delve into that issue of who is the chairman or not chairman when they deliver their judgment, because there was a judgment of November 13 that has not been appealed. I want my friend to know that when a Court of Appeal has granted the judgment, I didn't appeal it. You understand? It is at your peril. Now, the other one they went for was what the court now today said it is not just
Abayomi, okay, great.
You cannot bring issue of leadership before. But let me tell you, who are the appellants? Nenadius man was the appellant. Supreme Court is not a football field where you play draw. You don't play draw. It is either A or B. What the court says is that this appeal, all right, you understand, ordinarily,
let me quickly come in here. I get that. I get the point you're trying to make, and I'm sure our viewers also understand. Just quickly, thanks, Abayomi. Quickly, it's a yes or no answer in this case. Has Mr. Abure's tenure as the chairman of Labour Party expired? Yes or no?
It has not expired. You see, it's got 3 years, and this is the rule.
Okay.
You see, he became acting chairman. It has not expired. No, let me explain to Nigeria. He became acting chairman in 2021. I was the state chairman in Ogun that moved that motion and allowed you Farouk.
Let me come. All right, quickly, Fred, before I quickly round this up, if political parties are to resolve their issues internally, why do we keep seeing them go to the court? A quick answer to that and a response to Mr. Abayomi.
The quick answer is that politicians most times do not want to respect their laid down procedures in their constitution. That is their challenge. They will always want to circumvent the constitution because of selfish political interest. If Rebambi is insisting that Abure's tenure has not expired, that means that the convention, which the party members described as a chara that was held in Nnewi sometime last year or last 2 years, which re-elected Julius Abure as the party chairman, that caused a lot of brouhaha, that also now emptied all the leadership of the party to court. That means that they are trying to make it, to give it life. But that convention was one of the major challenges that they have, because they said that the tenure of Abure had ended, and that was why the caretaker committee was installed to be able to organize a credible convention following the Labour Party's constitution.
All right.
But Julius Abure and his team sidelined that committee and went ahead a convention that now led to all these litigation that they're having in court.
All right.
So it is not correct to say that Abure still remains as the chairman. It will not be accepted by all Labour Party members, and especially
on that note, Fred,
that is saddled with the responsibility of organizing a more acceptable convention for the party.
All right, Fred, thank you so much. This story is clearly not going anywhere. I want to say thank you to Abayomi Arabambi, National Publicity Secretary of the Labour Party, and I repeat, in the Abure camp. And also thanks Fred Nzeako, a legal practitioner, for shedding light on this story. Thanks, gentlemen, and good night. Welcome back. You're watching Tonight on News Central. I am Adeshawa Josh. Staying with legal matters, the Federal High Court in Abuja has issued a restraining order preventing all parties involved in the legal challenge of Senator Natasha Akpoti-Oduaha's suspension from making public statement or media appearances. The case, which was reassigned to Justice Nyako after Justice Egwatu's recusal, had its first mention today. Lawyers representing both sides were present, and Justice Nyako ordered all filed applications to be reviewed before the next hearing. The court also directed that preliminary objection and the main suit be heard together at the next session. The restriction extends to all parties, including legal representatives and media commentators. The case will resume on May the 12th. In other news, the new Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, Bayo Julari, has officially taken the baton of office. He has now called for concerted effort to tackle the challenges mitigating against the growth of the company, noting that the target set for the corporation is enormous, but expressed confidence of the new management and board to tackle them headlong. Also, the outgoing Group Chief Executive Officer, Mele Kyari, commended the new management team, expressing his confidence on their ability to reposition the NNPC Limited to become the envy of the oil and gas industry.
Bayo, I congratulate you from the depth of my heart, and I know you will succeed. You will do great things. I'm sure that you will take NNPC to the promised land, which is to be the global energy company of choice. And this is the ambition of this company, and I know it is realizable, it's realistic, and I know that you're capable of taking it to that position. And we'll do everything possible to support you, Bayo, to succeed and to do greater things than we ever imagined that is possible. But I know this is possible. You are inheriting a company that has extremely skilled workers of all class and an envy of most people in the industry today. And I'm sure that they will rally around you for you to succeed, including the senior management team members who are with us at this meeting.
My purpose is to consolidate the successes that NNPC has achieved and take it to the next level, as Alhaji Mele Kyari have said. You've been on a journey. How do we move that journey forward? How do we speed up where we can? And how do we leverage some of the significant network that you've already built towards moving at that pace? The challenges ahead are quite significant. The demands, when I saw the announcement, the target that have been set are quite challenging, but that is, the leader has set the target. And I don't question leaders when they set targets. The question is about how we're going to achieve it and what do we need to do to achieve it. And that will require concerted effort from all of us.
The new 11-man board has Bashir Bayo Julari as the group CEO, Amadu Musa Kida as non-executive chairman, Adedakbo Shegun, chief financial officer, Bello Rabiu Yusuf, Husman, Babs Omotoa, Austin Avuru, David Ige, and Henry Obi. Let's take a look at some health stories now. The wife of Nigeria's President, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, has inaugurated multiple projects initiated by the Niger Delta Development Commission in Bayelsa State as part of the NDDC's efforts to drive development in the region. The president's wife also flagged off free medical outreaches to provide essential healthcare services to underserved communities in the region and donated 11 ambulances to hospitals in the 9 states of the region to provide affordable healthcare delivery to the people in each state. News Central correspondent Austin Azu was at the event and sent this report.
As part of the programs enlisted to mark the Niger Delta Development Commission's 25th anniversary, stakeholders in the region converged on Otosega Ogbea local government area of Bayelsa State to witness the multiple inauguration of projects inaugurated and completed by the NDDC to drive meaningful development in the region. First, the NDDC Director of Education, Health and Social Services begins the event with a welcome address, followed by an address by the MD, CEO, NDDC, where rose out the achievements of the current NDDC board and its future plans.
You know, the essence of this partnership is to enable the NDDC work harder to deliver the dividends of development in the areas of health, education, and other social services that affect women and children and youths in the Niger Delta.
In their goodwill messages, the Minister of Regional Development, Abubakar Momo, and the Governor of Bayelsa State, Senator Dure Diri, sued for collaboration for the development of the Niger Delta states, while the Senate Committee Chairman on NDDC pledged to continue approving funds to guarantee meaningful developments in the region.
And for us as a state government, all we need is partnership. We have never seen the NDDC as a competitor. And my advice, privately and publicly, is that we need to collaborate and partner. It is out of that today that we have state government-owned institutions that have been uplifted by the NDDC, and we are coming to commission them.
Yes, before now, NDDC has always been associated with stories of failure, stories of non-performing, stories of corruption. But I want to assure you that with the current board in place, things have changed tremendously.
We will continue to appropriate resources effectively and efficiently for the Niger Delta and ensure that these resources are meticulously used for the benefit of the people of the region. Development must be transparent and sustainable, and the committee will work closely with the NDDC to guarantee this.
Launching the 2025 series of the NDDC and Renew Hope Initiative's free medical outreach, Nigeria's First Lady, Senator Oloremi Tinubu, said the launch will provide access to health insurance services for the poor and vulnerable people in the region, while other projects will also accelerate a lasting solution to the socio-economic difficulties confronting the region.
This contribution significantly aid in saving lives and ensure that the various communities receive prompt medical attention when needed. Also, the introduction of health insurance scheme that is specifically designed to cover rural communities in the NDDC states will provide thousands of families with access to affordable and reliable medical care.
High points of the event include the unveiling of the prototype of the Mother and Child Amenity Ward, the commissioning of the NDDC Renew Hope Initiative's renovated Otosega Cottage Hospital, and the donation of ambulances and medical equipment to the 9 states of the Niger Delta region. In Bayelsa for News Central, Austin.
A leading financial solutions provider, Monida, has officially signed a strategic partnership with MeCash to launch Musa, a digital financing platform tailored for SMEs operating in the natural resources value chain, including energy, agriculture, and minerals. The partnership signing event held in Lagos marks a significant milestone in expanding financial access for businesses that drive Africa's economic development. Musa aims to remove traditional financing barriers, offering SMEs fast, flexible credit without the burden of collateral or lengthy approval processes. Unlike traditional banks that rely on collateral-based lending, Musa uses technology-driven credit assessment models, leveraging real-time business activity, cash flow, and alternative data to evaluate SMEs' financial capacity.
The beginning of the understanding is that in Africa, banking doesn't really work. That's the beginning of the thesis that we have. It doesn't really work. It creates bigger banks, but doesn't create bigger borrowers. And it's not the bank's fault. It's more structural. It's about the way our economies are set up, the way our currencies are structured, as opposed to other global currencies, and other defects that our markets have. So what that means is that if we really want to make a dent in the problems of our continent, we have to create a different type of financial institution, which is half bank, half operator.
The bedrock of every economy is SMEs. You grow an SME, you grow prosperity for everyone else. And like Ekijike has said, it always starts with SMEs that can be funded or have access to funding. But then there needs to be efficiency in the way money is being moved around. And that's where payments comes in. And that's what MeCash is going to deliver in this partnership. We will be the engine behind making sure that money is going to the right place at the right time, low cost, fast settlements, and there's efficiency in the way Monida's vision is and in the way they're looking to expand Pan-African.
The federal government has officially reopened the Independence Bridge in Lagos following emergency repair works. This comes 2 days after many Lagosians experienced horrendous traffic as a result of the earlier closure of the bridge for planned maintenance and rehabilitation works. News Center's Israel Ifirobo reports.
The federal government officially reopened the Independence Bridge in Lagos following the emergency repairs that temporarily paralyzed traffic flow across the city. The bridge, a key artery connecting Lagos Island to the mainland, was closed earlier in the week, triggering massive gridlock and public frustration. The Minister of Works, David Umahi, who was on inspection of the repairs at the Independence Bridge, explained what led to its initial closure.
The bridge, the reason for the closure in the first place, because the part of the approach slab caved in, and the construction of the approach slab ab initio was wrong, because it was a cantilever, and in fact it's not a cantilever. We can say it's a free supporting approach slab, which should not be.
The minister thereafter ordered its reopening on Thursday after emergency stabilization efforts.
His Excellency, the President, who directed immediate and swift action to restore this integrity of this bridge, it is my pleasure to remove the bottlenecks and to declare the Independence Bridge open for traffic.
For many Lagosians, the reopening of the bridge brought a wave of relief.
I'm very happy this road has been done now. I think everybody will be free. About since 2 days now, we have been suffering for hold up. I thank the federal government for that.
Really, I'm happy compared to what like yesterday and 3 days back.
I was happy now. Like 2 days ago, we come back home around 3 a.m. in the morning.
I feel better now because unlike 2-3 days ago, it was not funny.
The hold up from TBS it is something else, because this particular road that lead to the hold up. So like today, as I'm walking down, I never knew it was even open. I would have even taken a bus from Odekunde. But thank God today, I'm very happy and I feel excited that the road is okay.
Though the repairs, which is only temporary, will make way for a more permanent solution after 3 weeks.
We are going to be doing a more permanent work after 3 weeks, because we don't know the integrity of the piles carrying the abutment.
As traffic slowly normalizes, residents are urging authorities to keep their promise of a phased, less disruptive reconstruction once full repairs begin.
Now, while many Lagosians are indeed expressing their joy and happiness at the reopening of the Independence Bridge, it is worthy to note that this reopening is only temporary. From the Independence Bridge here in Lagos, for News Central, Israel Ifirobo.
And outside our shores, stakeholders have continued to raise concerns following the announcement of unprecedented tariffs by U.S. President Donald Trump. While the Director General of the World Trade Organization, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, warned that the recent tariffs imposed by the United States could significantly impact global trade and economic growth, she stressed that her organization is closely monitoring the situation and engaging with member countries about the potential economic fallout. Similarly, the U.S. Federal Reserve Chair, Jerome Powell, cautioned that the tariffs could lead to higher unemployment and potentially trigger inflation. We'll be heading for more money talks after the short break with Joanna. Do stay with us. Time for some money talks with Joanna, who joins me from our business desk. Joanna, I see here that Nigeria's dollar bond fund is receiving awards. How does that affect the money in my pocket?
Well, not directly, okay, I'll say that much. But yes, we are winning awards for raising debt. Sometime in September last year, we raised our very first dollar-denominated bond, and well, we doubled our target. So I'll bring you the details on that after this break.
All right.
business news in association with Money Master PSB, the easy way to master your money.
In a landmark achievement, Nigeria's first domestic US dollar bond has won the West Africa Deal of the Year award at the 2025 Global Banking and Markets Africa Awards. Announced on August 19, 2024 by Nigeria's Debt Management Office, the landmark bond raised $917 million, surpassing its initial $500 million target due to high demand, and has been hailed as a game changer for the country's financial markets. The bond was listed on the Nigerian Exchange and FMDQ Securities Exchange. Minister Doris Zoka Anite accepted the award in Cape Town, South Africa, highlighting Nigeria's growing financial confidence and commitment to capital market development. And the World Bank is set to provide a $10.5 million grant to Nigeria to enhance the Central Bank of Nigeria's technical capacity and modernize domestic payment systems. Announced through the Finance for Development Multi-Donor Trust Fund, the grant aims to integrate advanced technologies into CBN supervisory processes. The projects will focus on strengthening institutional capacity, engaging supervisory function with supervisory technology, and modernizing remittance systems. Scheduled for board approval on June 12, 2025, this initiative aligns with Nigeria's goal of promoting a cashless economy and improving financial infrastructure. And the market closed more or less flat today. To think that, some of the stocks, did decline significantly. 29 stocks declined, but 19 stocks gained. And that was enough to give us a pretty much flat performance today. The market is down marginally 0.01%. All share index 105,511.89. And market capitalization is at 66.14 trillion naira. Coming to sectoral performances, it was pretty much the banks giving us the defense and making sure the decline is not as steep as it could have been. The banking sector is up 0.51%. Insurance profit taken from yesterday is down 3.21%. Oil and gas down 0.50%. Consumer goods down 0.24%. And industrial goods pretty much flat. That is it on Business Tonight. I am Joanna Mustafa. Tonight continues with Adishewa.
Welcome back. Favors here with the latest in sports news and the National Sports Festival in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital. Favor?
Yes, fantastic time ahead, of course, in the world of sports. Ogun State gearing up for the 22nd National Sports Festival. Many more after this time out.
Sports Update, brought to you by Corn Oil. Corn Oil. We go the extra mile.
Ogun State Governor Dapo Abiodun says that preparations for the upcoming National Sports Festival are progressing smoothly, with final touches being made to key facilities in Abeokuta. Now, during a recent inspection of the MKO Abiola Stadium and Alake Sports Center, the governor highlighted significant progress in the upgrade of the facilities, including the near completion of an Olympic-sized swimming pool, tennis court, and a handball court at the stadium. Governor Abiodun further revealed that the state is expected 15,000 attendees for the event and is working to ensure that local attractions, including Olumo Rock Tourist Center, are ready for visitors in time for the games. The Nigerian Customs Service delivered an impressive performance, sweeping Botswana's Spiking Stars 3-0 in their Pool B match on Friday at the ongoing CAVB Women's African Volleyball Club Championship. CNS controlled the match from start to finish, capitalizing on their opponent's lack of experience. The Nigerian side, fueled by a passionate home crowd, won the first set 25-22 and weathered a tough challenge in the second, sealing it 25-21. In the third, CNS took complete control, exploiting defensive gaps and wrapping up the match with a commanding 25-8 scoreline. This win follows their opening victory, where they defeated Cameroon's Mayo Kani Evolution Dames 3-0. Meanwhile, Egypt's Al Ahly continued their dominant form, trouncing Senegal's Sosim 3-0. And out of football, Manchester City midfielder Kevin De Bruyne has announced he will leave the club when his contract expires at the end of the season. The 33-year-old Belgian has won 16 trophies since joining City from Wolfsburg in 2015, including 6 Premier League titles and the Champions League in 2023. He has also scored 106 goals in 413 appearances for City, but has started just 19 matches this season. Reacting to the news, City manager Pep Guardiola said De Bruyne is one of the greatest midfielders to ever play in the country, comparing his impact to that of other title-winning former City players like Vincent Kompany, Sergio Aguero, and David Silva, all of whom have had statues built outside Etihad Stadium. City, who have won the past 4 Premier League titles, said they're planning a fitting tribute before the end of the season. Still talking football, UEFA has fined 3 Real Madrid players, including Kylian Mbappe, for violating basic rules of decent conduct during their Champions League last season victory over Atletico Madrid. Mbappe was fined €30,000, Antonio Rudiger €40,000, and Dani Ceballos €20,000. Mbappe and Rudiger also received suspended 1-match European bans, but remained available for Madrid's quarter-final first leg against Arsenal. UEFA cited Article 11 of its disciplinary code, but did not specify the infractions. Madrid secured victory on March 12 after a penalty shootout at Atletico's Metropolitano Stadium. The players allegedly provoked Atletico Madrid fans during celebrations, although Brazilian forward Vinicius Jr. was not penalized. Madrid, 15-time Champions League winners, continue their title defense next week. And that wraps it up on Sports Update. I'm Favor Itwa. Tonight continues with Adeshawa.
Ede was here with the latest in entertainment news. Another African making waves on a global streaming platform. Ede, what was that?
Yes, we're talking about, like you said, another African. Our Ghanaian brother is making us proud. Yes,
Right.
Black Sheriff. He is on the UK Apple chart, and he's at number 5, making him the first African, well, not African, Ghanaian artist with an album on that platform at top 5. But we had other Nigerians, take number 1. I'm talking about Burna Boy, Wizkid, but let's celebrate Ghana now.
I'm just going to pretend I know who that is. So, yeah, Black
Okay, I'll bring you all the details shortly.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Entertainment news in association with Glow Unlimited.
All right, now let's jump right into the juicy conversation as Ghanaian music star Black Sheriff has just scored a massive career win. His new album, Iron Boy, has officially peaked at number 5 on the UK Apple Music chart, making it the highest charting Ghanaian project ever on that platform and the top performing African album of 2025 so far. Big ups, congratulations there. The feat confirmed on April 4th marks a major moment, not just for Black Sheriff, but for African music at large. With his signature blend of raw emotions, street poetry, and genre-defying sound, Iron Boy is being hailed as a masterclass in sonic storytelling. From introspective ballads to energetic anthems, Iron Boy is more than just an album. The global spotlight continues to shine brighter on African talent, and we are always here for the good news. Adeshawa, look at it again. This is a Ghanaian guy who has decided to put us on the map. He just dropped this album, by the way, and it's gaining numbers already. People are super excited, seeing the fact that he's very African when it comes to his kind of music. He's out there putting, he speaks a lot of the Ghanaian language. He doesn't just do a lot of English. But yeah, for him to be on that, it's a huge one for us, if I should say so myself.
And here I am, Googling Black Sheriff.
I'm sure you would find him. I'm sure you will find him. He's a very controversial Ghanaian singer as well.
Okay.
He's very, outspoken, and he does that in a very good style as well. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. When you find him, we'll come back to that conversation.
Right.
But let's move on. This one is about a British comedian and actor, Russell Brand. He has been formally charged with rape, indecent assault, oral rape, and sexual assault relating to incidents involving 4 different women between 1999 and 2005. The charges follow an in-depth investigation by the Metropolitan Police, which began after explosive revelations surfaced in a joint expose by the Sunday Times, The Times, and Channel 4's dispatches in September 2023. Now, Brand has denied all allegations, insisting his past relationships were always consensual. However, the Crown Prosecution Service, that's the CPS, confirmed it had authorized the charges after carefully reviewing evidence from the police probe. Now, according to the Met, the alleged offenses took place in Bournemouth and Westminster. Brand, who is currently believed to be in the United States, has been summoned to appear before the Westminster Magistrate Court on May 2nd. Should he fail to cooperate, the UK authorities may consider extradition. Well, this is a popular actor, by the way. I'm sure you probably must have seen his movie.
I know Russell
Yeah,
Brand.
you know
And
Russell
I know
Brand.
that, you know,
Yeah.
I got to know him because he used to be married to Katy Perry.
Yes,
someone
exactly,
I really respect.
exactly.
And their marriage was very intense and, you know, yeah. Just like, yeah. And then, you know, they parted ways. It was also a very tough time for Katy Perry.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm just looking online. I'm wondering what oral rape is. What is that?
Well, this is quite an interesting...
I guess it's not something we can discuss
it's not
on
something we
air.
can discuss on air.
I've never heard of what is oral rape.
Yes.
What is that, everybody?
People can go check it out. It's quite intense, but we're looking to see what happens when this case goes to trial.
I wish him luck.
All right. Well, that's all on entertainment tonight. We do wish him luck.
And that's the news tonight. Please send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on your screen. Follow us on all social media platforms. We are at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, Star Times channel 274, AVO TV, and YouTube. Thanks a lot for sticking with us. I am Adeshawa Josh. Have yourself a great weekend. I'll see you around.